Commandment 10, Part 3, Characteristics of a Covetous Person. When we look at this concept of being a coveting person, first thing that we are needing to do is to remind ourselves about what exactly the definition of this word is. Covet means to yearn, to possess, or to have something. So now when we look at the characteristics that are associated with being a covetous person, as with everything that we have been doing with this study, we are going to be looking into different Bible verses. First, Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 31. And they come unto thee as the people cometh, and they sit before thee as my people, and they hear thy words, and they do not do them. For with their mouth they show much love, but their heart goeth after their covetousness. When we start to break apart this verse little at a time, we begin to get a picture into exactly what kind of habit and characteristics of someone who covets is. They will come as the rest of the people come. By talking about it, it suggests a routine or habitual action. It continues on to saying that they will sit and hear your words. All this is done showing respect and a willingness to listen to what Ezekiel was going to say. Continuing on in this verse, it says that what is being talked about is not being put into practice, highlighting this characteristic of hypocrisy and disobedience. The kind of superficiality that comes with people's fake devotion, the kind of worship that comes from people's lips, is way different from what they actually want in their hearts. It is far from each other. It contrasts a genuine love and obedience with what is in their hearts. All of this leads to what we see and what we get into in the last part of this verse, in which it talks about how hearts go after covetousness. Or in different translations, it talks about dishonest gain. The heart represents the center of one's being and one's intentions. By this verse talking about how the heart pursuits of this covetousness or dishonest gain is able to reveal the true motivations. It is the pursuit of material wealth and self-interest that is condemned through the scriptures. In Matthew chapter 6, verse 21, "For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." Looking into this example from the New Testament, we are able to see that through this verse is emphasizing the focus or location of our treasure. In biblical terms, it often refers to what it is that one values most. Treasure is something that is often linked to material wealth, but is also able to extend to anything that someone holds of value in their life. Especially in ancient times, treasure was often stored in physical forms like gold, silver, precious stones, all of which are susceptible to theft or decay. At the end of this verse, it talks about how that is where your heart is. Just as we have been talking about before, this concept of heart is represented as one's desires, emotions, and will. In other words, if we are wanting to do something, it is because our heart wants it. The heart is seen as the seat of thought and moral decision-making, and not simply just emotions. The connection that this verse makes between treasure and heart implies that one's treasure will ultimately shape their character and their actions. In Proverbs chapter 21, verse 26, "He covets greedily all day long, but the righteous gives and spares not." Here in Proverbs, this verse is broken up into two different perspectives. We are looking into what it is that a coveting person does compared to those who are righteous. First, we are able to see the perspective of that coveting person, that they are one who is always wanting more, even going as far to word it as being greedy all day long. It is able to show this lack of contentment with a strong focus on material wealth, whether that means possession or simply just money. If we switch over for a little bit of what the righteous do, we are able to see that it talks about how they give and spare not. It is a very contradicting characteristic to those who are coveting. The righteous are those who are told to be generous. As Christians, we are called to be living in accordance with God's will. Through the scriptures, we are being told that we are needing to be one of a spirit of giving. When we look at things from an earthly perspective, what they view as success was wealth and possessions, all of which is able to contrast the teachings that was being presented by Jesus, in which Jesus is able to emphasize the point of how we are to be storing up treasures in heaven rather than on earth.